How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Sam. Today we're talking about the Yankees offense and how excellent they have been lately. Talk about the left field position. Kind of a AAA sensation there, stealing the job away from Aaron Hicks and IKF and Franchi, who I don't think Franchi's ever going to see this team again unless we're just completely destroyed with injuries. Willie Calhoun, big two-run home run yesterday, has been making a pretty solid impact offensively, and he's good enough defensively just to exist there, but you really want him as your DH. The question is what happens when Giancarlo Stanton comes back. Now, yesterday you could label the lineup as a punt lineup, right? They didn't have Bader, no DJ LeMahieu. They still kicked the living shit out of Alek Manoah, and we love to see that, Sam. But what are your thoughts on this offense lately? Bader coming back, his hot start, Judge starting to get back into it. He looks like his normal self again. Volpe's been killing it the last 6 games or so. And even some of those other guys, Oswaldo Cabrera, he looks like he's finally hitting his stride. Really exciting to see everyone kind of coming together at the same time, and this Yankee offense looking a little bit more like the one we're used to from 2022.
It seems like there's a real burst of life in this team, sort of like a random injection that this team received. And I really think it's because Aaron Judge finally came back to this lineup, right? Ever since Judge came back to the lineup, team's 4-2, and the offense is off the charts right now. This is a guy, Aaron Judge, that a week ago I saw on Twitter everywhere was talking about how bad this guy's numbers were, how terrible he looked after he signed that money, and that he was robbing the Yankees blind. I want to see he had like an 840 OPS last week. I think it's up to like 950 now. He's had 2 multi-homer games over the past week. He's really been the catalyst for this offense, and it's a testament to how much he means to this team, because when Judge is hitting, the rest of the guys are also hitting, and we've gotten severe contributions from guys that we just did not expect. Harrison Bader has been on an incredible tear since he came off the IL. We didn't think he was going to be able to repeat what he did in the postseason last season, but he's here and he's hitting like a madman. And granted, he wasn't even in this team yesterday. Anthony Rizzo has looked like one of the best first basemen in baseball this year, and I feel like it's quietly been happening just because of the amount of talent that's on this roster right now and the contributions that we're getting from different guys. And you expect Rizzo to be that, superstar in the middle of this lineup every single day. But his contributions have not gone unnoticed. He just won American League Player of the Week, and he's been incredible for this team as well. DJ LeMahieu, like you mentioned again, another guy that was on the bench, but he's been awesome. He's had a 900 OPS this month. And this offense, out of nowhere, has this life, this burst out of completely nowhere that they just look alive again. They look patient at the plate. They're getting base hits. They're not just completely swinging for the fences. Granted, this is a team that leads the American League in home runs this month. They've hit 29 home runs this month, which I think is like 5 or 6 more than any other team in baseball, which is huge because we know the Yankees live and die off of the long ball. And like you mentioned with Jake Bauers, this is a guy that came in that we clamored over here at FSY to come up and make an instant impact and be that spark, because we were sick of seeing Aaron Hicks. We were sick of seeing IKF every day, and even Willie Calhoun playing in the outfield. And we're, still yet to see what happens with Stanton when he comes back and that kind of stuff. But this is now a guy that you're leading off every single day and adds another left-handed bat, which this team desperately needs. We know how much we love the porch out in Yankee Stadium. And Jake Bauers has come up and has been a sensation. The defense is a little iffy, but he's been great at the plate. And right now, this offense is firing on all cylinders. And I really think it's a testament to Aaron Judge coming back to this lineup and really being in that clubhouse, being that leader, and just being that guy on the field that's going to lead the Yankees to wins every single day.
That's exactly right. And, you look at kind of the spark, like what really started this catalyst, started this hot run for the Yankees. And I would go as far as to say it was definitely Harrison Bader. I think Bader's return was a massive kind of turning point for this offense. He came in and gave them that little jolt and was like, we're better than this, guys. We can hit. Everyone was struggling. And sometimes baseball really is just when everyone's hitting, like you notice how confident everyone is at the play. You notice the discipline. You notice the good at-bats. Oswaldo Cabrera, it looks like he changed his complete plate approach recently. I mean, he is so much more disciplined. He walked 3 times yesterday, guys. 3 times. Oswaldo Cabrera was having trouble walking 3 times in 15 games, let alone 3 times in 1 game. So we're seeing a different approach here. I think that they're building confidence, but at the same time, I think that they found a really good mesh of where to put players in the actual batting order. Like they moved Volpe down, and I think that really stood out to me in terms of he needed just a little bit of a change of scenery. And I think, interestingly, they were actually attacking. Ryan actually brought up this concept that maybe they were attacking Volpe because they knew if he got on base ahead of Aaron Judge that they were going to get scored on, or that at least they were going to have a really tough time keeping them off the board. So I think they were attacking Volpe, being really aggressive, and he was having trouble because he wasn't expecting it. And he did have some really good contact nonetheless. Like, he was making good contact. It was just more of, I think that mentally he was just getting a little bit in his own head. But now you see him next to Oswaldo Cabrera, and they're working really well off of each other. They're finding this really good mesh and alignment in the batting order that's making a lot of sense. Jake Bauers has had a really solid start as a leadoff hitter, and he's been awesome, as you mentioned. We were clamoring for him to get called up. A lot of people were questioning us. A lot of people were saying, there's no way this AAA guy is going to step up. Well, he stole the left field job from Aaron Hicks, IKF, and Franchi, which, again, not that difficult to do. But even Oswaldo Cabrera has been utilized more as that primary utility guy again. He's fallen back into his normal role, and we're seeing the left field position filled by Bauers. He had a really nice jumping grab yesterday, and Cabrera looks sharp on the hot corner. Like, he looked excellent. So, what are your thoughts on Oswaldo right now? Him stepping up, and really when he's hitting, when he's getting on base, the rest of the team seems to follow suit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we saw it at the tail end of last year, right? He came up and was like an instant impact for this team, and it wasn't a guy that we thought was going to be a bat first guy to be able to come up and just rake out of nowhere. And he was incredible as a rookie with this team down the stretch. And that offense down the stretch was dead. There was nothing coming out of that offense whatsoever outside of Judge chasing 62 home runs. It was literally kind of just him and Oswaldo Cabrera, and that was really it. And then in the beginning of the season, we saw the slump, right? We saw the slump. He was, hitting 6-7 in this order, and we just didn't get any type of production. He was under the Mendoza line at some point. But now, at this point, they didn't drop him in this in the roster at all. He's still playing every single day. He's still playing regularly, which is nice that I like to see that Boone does, is he's not dropping these young guys and not playing them every single day. Volpe's had his struggles, but he's still playing every single day because they want him to get that confidence. They want him to get these reps. And it's the same thing with Oswaldo Cabrera. And now he's sitting at the bottom of this order and is starting to produce because he's starting to get that confidence back. Granted, we were talking about a couple weeks ago if they should drop him down to AAA so that he could get his confidence back up. And now he's on a different planet right now. He looks like a completely different player. It looks like his confidence is back, and he's the type of player that thrives off of that energy and thrives off of that confidence. And I think it's huge for this team because realistically with this team, there's a lot of fight in these guys right now, Alex. I think when you saw the 8-0 loss or whatever it was on Thursday night, to come back and score 24 runs in a series against the Tampa Bay Rays, I think is absolutely huge because that's the best pitching staff in baseball right now, numbers-wise. Obviously, when we're healthy, I think we got the guys to do it. But numbers-wise, the Tampa Bay Rays are the best pitching staff in baseball, and for you to hang 24 runs on their head with the amount of injuries that this team have, granted, this team is missing, their second or third best bat in Giancarlo Stanton. We're not really sure what Josh Donaldson can provide right now, but this team's got a lot of fight, and you saw that on in the Sunday game. They were down, and they decided to clamber back numerous times over the past week. And then last night, they're facing Alek Manoah, and granted, Alek Manoah hasn't had a great beginning of the season, but this is a guy that's been a dog over the past couple years. Last time he faced the Yankees, he shoved. And what did they do? They hung 5 on him. They were disciplined at the plate. They took 7 walks off of the guy. Granted, he has no control right now, but they're not swinging at bad pitches. Right now, this offense is just completely firing on all cylinders, and it's really impressive because this injection of life has really just helped this team and has really helped climb in the standings because we looked like we were dead 2 weeks ago, and now this team looks like it can make a legit push.
I mean, look, this is kind of the situation where the Yankees are back in it, right? The Yankees red hot. I mean, the AL East is back, up for grabs for us. Now, the standings, as you mentioned, we're climbing them, and we're 24-19. We're 7.5 games back from the Rays. We're not in last place anymore, which is definitely a good thing. But the next week is going to be a major determining factor for this Yankee team. So we have 3 more games against the Blue Jays. We have a 3-game series against the Reds, and then we have a 3-game series against the Baltimore. So over the next 9 games, 6 of them are against AL East opponents. So if there's a rather whatever. So essentially, I'm always thinking NFC East. I'm like, the Giants and Yankees are always confusing me, but the AL East, yes, that's correct. The Yankees have an opportunity here to pick up. I mean, I highly doubt they win all 6 of those games, but let's say theoretically they did. They would be a game and a half back from the Orioles. That's also assuming the Orioles continue to lose games, which is unlikely, but it's possible that they're a game back from the Orioles, 2 games back from the Orioles by the time it's all said and done. And the Rays, if they lose a couple games, we're right in the mix here. We might be 3 games back, 4 games back from the Rays, and that's well within striking distance. That's well with all you have to do is just like just chip away, chip away, chip away. One game here, one game there, 2 games here, 2 games there. I think ultimately the Yankees have an opportunity here to march their way right back to the top of the AL East, or at least get really close. And at the end of the day, we know this team has the quality to do it. It's all about just staying healthy. It's all about just maintaining this level of consistency. The Yankees offense is more than capable of doing that. The question is, when does Stanton come back? Because when Stanton comes back, we are going to hit a stride that we haven't seen this year yet. We may hit the first half of the season of last year type of stride where we're just freaking clipping games away. We're just like, we're winning 9 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 games on a 10 by 10 game basis. And that's where you're going to see the most improvement. And for what it's worth, Sam, you look at the standings, right? If you looked at the National League right now, the best record in the National League is 27-15. The Yankees would be like 2 games out of first place for the top seed in the National League, which is the Dodgers at the moment. And meanwhile, the Rays are just so far ahead of everybody. Like that's kind of where they would lie. Like the Yankees in the National League would be right there in first place. It's like second, third, fourth place, whereas they're 5th place in the AL East with a much better record. So kind of interesting to see. The American League is very strong this year. The Orioles just turned the crap out of their entire franchise around with, Mountcastle, obviously, Rutschman and Cedric Mullins and some phenomenal talent over there. And the Rangers, man, Rangers have had a tremendous start to the season too. They're 25-16, so they're on fire. Toronto's on fire. The AL East is by far one of the best divisions, if not the best division in the entire game. So if the Yankees can chip their way up to the top of the AL East again, it's not only gonna say that we belong there, it's gonna say that we are a very good team with championship caliber players. Again, all about staying healthy, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, when you look at the National League, it's really interesting just to see, like, how, not necessarily bad, but just, like, how great the AL East has been. I think that this is the bloodbath that we expected out of the AL East last year, right? We expected Boston to completely fall off a cliff this year, but I didn't expect them to be, like, an under 500 and, like, terrible team. I thought they would be, like, a 500 ball club, and I felt the same way about Baltimore, but right now, those are 2 teams that are really, really pushing it to the limit, and granted, Tampa Bay was not this good last year. I think they won 86 games last year. Like, they were not awesome whatsoever. So this AL East division right now is an absolute bloodbath. And when you look at the Yankees' strength of schedule, I think they've played the hardest strength of schedule in baseball, if I'm not mistaken. So we've played some dogs early, man, and it doesn't help playing in this AL East. And it's really impressive to be able to take games off of the Rays, because this isn't a team that takes game like the Rays don't get games taken off of them at this point. I think they're like 31-11, right? So it's really impressive to see, and there's just a lot of there's a lot of fight in this team right now. Nothing's really stopping them, and that like confidence drain that they saw a couple weeks ago, it completely disappeared, which is really fun to see. And I think that the point that you brought up with Stanton coming back and them hitting the type of 2022 stride that they hit last year, I think that is a very realistic possibility, because again, that just adds another dynamic to this offense, and once that guy gets hot, it's kind of game over for the league. So hopefully they can keep up with this consistency and the pitching can get healthy. And that's, again, that's another thing that we're never really concerned about is the pitching. And right now we're really, really concerned about the pitching. It's usually the offense is in a dead slump, but right now we're worried about the pitching. So once they can get healthy and once we get all those guys back, they should really hit their stride. And I think that they can really, truly make a run at this division, just because I don't think Taylor Walls is going to have a 950 OPS forever, right? It's just not going to happen. That Rays offense isn't going to hit out of their minds for the entire season. So it's definitely in reach, and I want to see this pitching staff get healthy. I want to see this offense continue to bang. But right now, they look really awesome, and it's been a lot of fun over the past week seeing this team compete.
100%. This is a team that if they get Rodon back, they get Luis Severino back, they get some of these guys back, and we're stacked to the brim with talent. You're not going to find a team more talented than this at many junctures in the league. And the Yankees are more than capable of pushing for a World Series. We know this. It's just about staying healthy, just about getting the key players back. At some point, we get Jonathan Loáisiga back after the All-Star break. Rodon, obviously, hopefully that chronic back injury dissipates a bit. The cortisone shots help. And then Severino should be back by Sunday, they're saying, or at least at the very earliest Sunday. And then you have Tommy Kahnle also about to start a rehab assignment. So you got there's a lot of guns coming back, guys. Frankie Montas by the end of the year, maybe he's contributing. Maybe he's helping out of the bullpen, just helping to smooth some stuff over, give some guys some necessary rest like Eric Cole and maybe Nestor Cortez. I know Cortez ran out of gas last year, so maybe Montas allows him to kind of rest and take it easy. I know he's kind of had a tough start to this season, but I'm certainly excited about the near future of this Yankee team. We all are. The optimism, the excitement is bubbling, but we gotta temper our expectations because I am still scared. I'm still scared of the injuries and whatnot. But hopefully, things change course and maintain this level of execution and pace. But as always, my friends, happy to have a good conversation with you down in the comments section. Make sure to like and subscribe. As always, drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.